Welcome to Dweller of the Dark. We are a channel honoring the yellowed and blackened bones of many prominent authors. We will be digging up several obscure, strange, and forgotten authors who influenced many of the great horror, science fiction, and fantasy writers today. More tales of the horrifying, obscure, strange, and forgotten are climbing out of the tombs. Subscribe, comment, like, donate, or I'll send the devil of black by you to rip your head off as we did the like button. Unknown horror masters, send us ghoulish delights for the Skull and Bones collection. Your pound of writer's flesh will feed our ghouls for now. Books, albums, websites in the links below. Children of Horror, Legion of Ghouls. The season of Halloween has arrived. Each night, we will present a tale, song, or poem in the ghoulish spirit of the season. Day 20, we begin the horror classic. 1 Scotch, 1 Bourbon, and 1 beer. Dedicated to Mark Russell, ARWCWB, The Green Cat 9947, Jaden 6685, Flash Gaming 297, Christy Melinda, and Count Blood Count.
Blood in the swamps, black water, praying to God the Father that the devil won't take me. Have I lost my mind? Is there some sort of insanity? Run, my brother, for more than your life. Black-hearted vixen is tricking to be your wife. Keep on running, cause it ain't Satan after you. She'll have a drink, take your soul, devils do. Howling the death wings, somewhere there's a crash and cry. My teeth are chattering, fearful, I can't lie. Have I lost my grip on what's real? Is that flapping demon after my soul to steal? Run, my brother, for more than your life. Black-hearted vixen is tricking to be your wife. Keep on running, cause it ain't Satan after you. She'll have a drink, take your soul, devils do. Out in the death winds, somewhere there's a crash and cry. My teeth are chattering, fearful, I can't lie. Have I lost my grip on what's real? Is that flapping demon after my soul to steal? Made it to Judas Mill just before daylight. No need to praise God for my safe plight. Have I lost my soul as these vampires grin wickedly to prey? Is that my blood on the water as my eyes close, eternally enslaved? Run, my brother, for more than your life. Black-hearted vixen is tricking to be your wife. Keep on running, cause it ain't Satan after you. She'll have a drink, take your soul, devils do. Run, my brother, for more than your life. Black-hearted vixen is tricking to be your wife. Keep on running, cause it ain't Satan after you. She'll have a drink, take your soul, devils do.
Time is a phantom built by the mind of man. There is no time. The thing that men call time flies before my wind. Time has beginning, duration, ending. I am that which was, is, and shall be. Unceasing, never-ending, eternal. Robert E. Howard, Eternity. And the will, therein lieth, which dieth not. Who knoweth the mysteries of the will with its vigor? For God is but a great will, pervading all things by nature of its intentness. Man doth not yield himself to the angels, nor unto death utterly, save only through the weakness of his feeble will. Joseph Glanville. I am a haunted man. I know that now. I don't need some damn Catholic priest or a voodoo conjure woman to tell me the obvious. Looking in an adjacent silver mirror to my hospital bed, I see the sunken shadows of my eyes. As the sun begins to set, I spy the pale, tight skin of my brow and the sparse tufts of hair remaining after my third round of chemo. But thank the Lord for once. In this same morose moment, I still have a lot to be thankful for. Despite all the years sinning, all the utter debauchery to my body, and all this torturous cancer treatment, my fiddle can still play a tune. And just today, mind you, in the goddamnedest of moments, I had my own miracle. You see, as I was getting a bath from my hospice nurse, Margaret, a profound revelation occurred that stunned us both. In that miraculous moment, both her hands recoiled as if she'd touched a striking cottonmouth. All the while I flushed embarrassed, with a devilish grin. With Margaret shaking a scolding finger at me and finishing my bath, the moment passed as awkwardly as it came, pun intended. She resumed torturing me with a new fitted sheet, rolling my aching frame as carefully as she could. Then with the dressing, the bedding, and shaving of what remains of facial hair on a scraggly beard, she performed the ultimate disservice, feeding me. Oh, you seriously going to try dropping that crap down my gizzard again? I barked with all the civility of a growling hellhound. Margaret pushed back a lock of her chestnut hair with a spidery finger and huffed. Pea porridge can't be all that bad. I went wide-eyed with disbelief and huffed back. Says you! How about some crawfish etouffee? Or even a little muscadine wine to wash down the slop you are trying to serve me as food? Margaret put down the bowl and chagrined. Crossing her arms, she tapped her foot, explaining for the 1,000th time. As she did so, highly annoyed by my behavior, I lifted my brow and softened my eyes to seem concerned. I nodded politely, empathized with her dilemma of a non-eating patient, me, and pretty much ignored everything she said completely. How many times have we had this argument, Wyatt? Dr. Martin said you can't be having all the spices and oils. It affects your chemotherapy. Don't tell him. And I promise not to puke on your shoes again. I tapped my purple blotched hands on my feeding tray, playing a tattoo as I tried to coerce her. Absolutely not. It would be a disservice to you. But if he found out, and that sneaky bastard would, I'd be getting a suspension for sure. She turned from me and went to scribble in a medical chart by my bed. As she went to press a button to kick on some music and liven this mausoleum up, I tried one more shot to persuade her. I lowered my head in a pout and rubbed my temples. Well, you can't blame a dying man for trying. There's got to be some moral code you broke, denying me my food. Margaret rolled her eyes and looked ready to maybe give in. My stomach even grumbled at the possibility she might sneak in the etouffee. Maybe I could even get her to break the biggest of rules: no alcohol. Call it divine fate or just bad luck in the moment, but something changed the moment. Just as I was on the precipice of a real meal instead of slimy pea soup, the words from my own mouth sunk that ship faster than the Titanic. Margaret turned up the music and began to hum away as she closed the chart. I could see that she noticed I was rattled. As she stared on, I recalled my current plight in Morgan City Hospice. But bless her cold heart, she has certainly read my worry about nightfall all wrong. If I was a betting man, I'd say Margaret thinks, as the darkness fills my room, that death scares me. In my recollection through the years, I can absolutely say I'm not bothered by death. I have lived a hell of a life and will have only one regret. And that regret, I sure as hell won't tell you or Margaret. Moving on when the time was right has always been my trademark. If it means bobsledding toward a totally natural death, so be it. In fact, it will be a relief. I know the score as I sit in this hospice room doing my best to stay in the world. Sure, I might want to kick up a few more tunes and share a story or two before I go, but I've always been a realist too. My next song will most likely be Beethoven and not Bachman Turner Overdrive. I'm getting a little chilled right now. I might have a slight shudder from the cold, as I feel the icy realms of death circling and chilling me to my very bones. But like I said, death isn't the monster I fear as the sun sets. Death doesn't make my pulse quicken as my eyes adjust to the twilight, passing as a shadow unto dusk. I glanced, slightly seeing Margaret's eyes narrowing and a stern brow cast towards me. I know she's plotting something. I just don't know what. Then her eyes lifted demurely. I'll be damned if she isn't changing tactics on me. I should have guessed as much. After almost a year of being my hospice nurse, she has learned too much on how I think. Well, she thought she did anyway. In an alluring, hypnotically sweet voice, Margaret almost won me over to eat. Wyatt, dear, you need to eat to keep your strength. Lured in by her wiles, not enticed by them, I asked in a rather croaking and rasping voice to Margaret Tozan, my strength, Margaret? Why in all hell's creation would I want to do that? She answered in the most pleasant of tones. It was as if she were scolding me as a schoolboy for not eating my broccoli. Doctor? Margaret, Nurse Tollesan, I'm dying. The cancer got me good this round. I interrupted with an exasperated hiss as I looked at my mottled skin from the endless needle jabs. No amount of money is going to square this when the Reaper calls in his chips. I see. Which by her abruptness and dismissive words meant she didn't. You're just going to give up all the work we've done to see you through. If you stop eating and waste away, I don't give you another month. And it's sad that you regressed back. Why? There's no need for a why, Margaret. Everyone has their time in the sun. I had a good run, no regrets. I saw her tear up. I wished, Lord knows, I'd sell my soul to tell her or anyone the why. Maybe I should spill the beans about that horrid night so long ago, but I can't, and I won't. If they find out, they'll come after her. She'll be tempted and tormented as I have been. And I hate to say it, an angel of a nurse like Margaret won't make it. I know her type all too well. There's a board full of missing people back at Sugar Bear's bar, just like her. Margaret Tollesan carrying that kind of weight, immortality, would bend the knee. Yeah, immortality sounds so good until you see up close the price you'll pay. Worms, maggots, and all. Carrying the weight of what I saw in that icy swamp 20-odd years ago. The things that whispered sweetly in my ear to relent and damn near took a bite out of my ass is the burden I will carry until my last breath. Margaret persisted in her questions. She wasn't letting things go. She narrowed her eyes hawk-like and pouted her lips something fierce. Please I interrupted to try and hold my ground. Margaret, I can't. I saw another tear fall and knew I needed to do something or she'd run out in a full bawl. That, of course, would alert Nurse Hatchet Porsche, or as I called her, old Ball Buster, who most certainly would charge down the hall like a raging gorilla and shove a tube up my ass to feed me. I took a deep sigh knowing what I was about to do was going to hurt like hellfire. But it'd be worth it if it kept Margaret Tozan from getting me to confess. I did something I hadn't done in nigh on 20 years. I sang. Devils. I started hacking and coughing and blubbering apologies. Why were you trying to sing, Wyatt? You can barely talk above a whisper. She studied me, and her brow furrowed, perplexed. I could see at least I'd stalled her on any further inquiries of my secret. I lowered my head and shrugged. Showing off, like I used to, on the big old Grand Opry stage. Believe it or not, I made all the ladies swoon in the aisles once upon a time. You sang on the Grand Old Opry. You've sprang some whopper tall tales on here, Mr. Lee, but singing has to be the biggest to date. I saw her smirk at me. I saw her lean back and cross her arms in absolute disbelief. Then, shaking her head with a laugh, she turned away to leave. I don't know where it came from in that moment. I've never known where my gift to sing came from. Maybe my voice came from my crazy mother bringing me to 1,000 church revivals to belt out gospel hymns. Maybe it was singing away to many campfire songs under the stars to woo a pretty girl that coaxed out my crooner chords. But I do know one thing. When people made fun of my abilities, I could always shut them up with my voice. And a raw, cancerous voice or not, I was going to pull off one more show before the curtain came down. You see, Nurse Tozan dismissing me as a fibber got my blood to boil as a copper kettle on a stove. So, I put all I had left again and belted these words as she turned around, putting her hand to her mouth in disbelief. It was a song I wrote days after I got back from Judas Mill. It became quite a hit, too, on my last tour. It even gave the bloodsuckers a laugh. It went like this. Devils down in Judas Mill, want my heart, want my soul still, till the last stars decline. This vixen will take more than my wine. I watched a tear fall from Margaret's eyes as I made it through the chorus. She came up and swatted me playfully. Now you see what you have done. You made me cry again. She huffed and turned storming off, yelling, You could have told me you were the lead singer of Righteous Dweller, Mr. Wyatt Lee. And that's another reason to live. Lord knows these bums pretending to be Southern rock singers these days can't hold a candle to you. As I sipped my water knowing there would be hell to pay for my showing off, I nodded to Margaret with a smirk. I couldn't agree more. Thank you for listening. Have a great night.